Not a man in sight. You still got it, Brent. You still got it.
My dad loves you,
Did anyone want to take a photo while I'm here? Because, why don't we just get that out of the way? Let's start over here. It's Thursday.
And it's full. They love you.
What are you doing here? Go home. In fact, I'm going home. Who was it who said I love you? Who was it?
Mostly that whole section.
I love you too. These are reserved seats. Wow. Is the blue reserved and the red reserved different?
Yeah.
Is the green reserved different than the red and the blue?
Yeah.
What? Oh, there's someone signing right here, right? Are you signing for me? Oh, he's signing for me. What did you say? That's not what I said. All right, everyone. Let's have a seat, all of us. Or let's all just. No, it's okay. You can stay where you are. All right. I'm going to put my phone here in case I get any important messages while we're doing this.
Just want you to know, cracked screen. We all got them. We all got them.
This is the cracked
screensaver?
Screensaver, yeah.
I just want to make you
underneath. It is pure and beautiful.
Like yourself. How are you, sir?
Very good, thank you.
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. We've met before, haven't we?
We have not. We've met on Twitter.
We have?
The last couple of days, yes.
Oh, that's right. I was debating what time I'm actually supposed to be here. And I'm not really supposed to be here right
Saturday.
now. Yeah, matter of fact, I'll see you Saturday.
But
no.
But we have something in common, and I'm really excited to talk to you. We don't have John here, we can talk about him, but we both from Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
And H-Town representing. And my wife is a Coug.
Coug?
Not just because of her age, but because of her degree.
Yeah.
Oh, hey!
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Who's this silver fox coming up?
John, won't you join me? Good evening. That's your Alfred Hitchcock, right? Yeah.
John, we'll get to you in a second.
Yeah.
Brent.
So we're right in the middle of something.
Yeah. We were bonding, and then you came in. But I worked at the Astrodome for the Astros, throwing softballs and stuff like that, and having fun. And there used to be called a Dome Patrol. And they would shoot the T-shirts and throw the souvenirs, and I used to do that.
Wow. Do you know that you guys know what the Astrodome was, right?
I think it still exists.
It
just
still
empty.
exists, but do they do anything there?
Casinos are what they're trying to do to it.
I'll tell you what the best two things I ever experienced in the Astrodome. I was actually in attendance at the first Major League game ever played in the Astrodome.
It's the Yankees.
Against the Yankees, Mickey Mantle hit a home run that night. It was unbelievable. And I was there, believe it or not, my mother took my brother and I to a game during the afternoon, one of the first afternoon games. It was kind of like an all-star deal or something, but Roberto Clemente was playing that day, and he hit a ball and it kind of cracked his bat a little bit. So he threw the bat and he got another one. And the bat just sat there, and we were just looking at it. My mother kept saying, "Get it, get it, get it." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to get it." And then Roberto came back and he got his bat. But I could have had a Roberto Clemente bat.
You learned a valuable lesson. Don't hesitate.
Yeah, I know.
So-
The second thing I was going to tell you, if we have time,
Of course.
John, I'm just going to go ahead and take the whole hour if you
We'll
don't.
get to you in a second, John. You just stand there and look pretty.
I'm saying stuff right now that amazes even John. The second time I was in the Astrodome, I mean the second amazing thing that happened in the Astrodome is they showed the world premiere of the movie Brewster McCloud, directed by Robert Altman, was in the Astrodome. And they put a screen up that was the size of a football field. And my girlfriend at the time had a part in the movie. And so we were invited, and then afterwards there was a party, and I met an actor in the movie, and I went up to him and I said, "Oh, Mr. Aubergenois, I'm such a huge fan of yours." And, and that was the night I met Renee. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And the next time I saw Renee, I replaced him in Big River, the Broadway show Big River. And he left the show, and I went into that part. And he came to see the show, and he came backstage, and he said, what you always say, "Congratulations." So he was very non-committal. Yeah.
So my question is, did you say his last name correctly the first time you saw him, or is it now that you know it?
No, I was a huge fan of his already. I had seen him in Twelfth Night in New York playing Ague Cheek, and then the Altman films. I was a fan of all of those films, and he was in all the early Altman films, and so I was thrilled to meet him, and I knew how to pronounce his name already.
Well, the question I was going to ask you was about Astroworld, which is the Six Flags that was right next door.
Well, maybe John knows the answer to that.
I'm going to get to John, and he's going to get a whole extended period for himself. He's, like I said, he's just going to sit there and look pretty. He's doing a great job of it right now. I wanted to know, what did you learn performing at Six Flags that's still with you today?
Was it? No, it wasn't. It was Astroworld.
Well, they turned into a Six Flags afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, it became a Six Flags Astroworld.
What did I learn? Yeah, I did it. I actually worked there for many summers, and the first summer I worked there, you can split if you want. It's a story. No, the first summer I worked there was a book, you know. Yeah, did you know that?
Yes, I was going to bring that up later.
Oh, okay. Let's.
But we're going to do about 50 minutes on Juilliard in a second, so you can go.
All right, so I got a job working at Astroworld as a gunfighter in the gunfighting shows, and it was a bunch of 3 or 4 actors and 3 or 4 real cowboys, and we all worked together and we devised these shows. And then one day, tragically, Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated, and the people who ran Astroworld decided, we're going to do away with the gun shows and we're going to make a big deal of it for the news and all of that. And so they did, and we were out of a job.
Just because you were out of a job.
Yeah, and so a friend of mine and I started thinking about it. We thought we've got to keep working here. This is a good gig. And it was my friend, a friend of mine named Trey Wilson, who was a fantastic actor, who he played in the movie Raising Arizona. He was Mr. Arizona, and he was in the movie Bull Durham. He was the manager of the baseball team. Wonderful actor. left us way too early. But nonetheless, he and I got together. We said, let's write a medicine show. And we did, and we wrote this medicine show that you do from the back of a wagon, and we presented it to the guys who ran the entertainment division there, and they liked it, so they built a wagon for us, and we did the medicine show for years. And even after we left and we went on to do other things, they kept doing the medicine show that we wrote with many other actors. In fact, Al Pacino was one of the medicine.
I was going to say Dennis Quaid. I'm trying to get all the Houstonians I know. Dennis Quaid played one, I think. Randy, maybe.
Well, Randy was there.
Yeah.
That summer, the first summer, Randy Quaid played a clown. Literally, he was in clown makeup and went around the place.
Oh, I'm not shocked.
Where was this? Where was
In
it?
Houston. Yeah.
So John, welcome. It's very nice to see you. I'm thrilled to have both of you here. I'm a great admirer of your work. One of the things I was really excited to see, because I'm gonna ask only non-Star Trek questions, and then we're gonna look at the line of ladies just waiting for you. The Silver Foxes of Star Trek is what this panel is going to be recalled.
Very much so.
Somebody's going to throw a hip tonight. Anyways, what I was really excited when I saw you in Breaking Bad as the father of Kristen Ritter's character, who was the distraught air traffic controller. I can't remember at that time, was Breaking Bad the big hit it was? Because I think the last 2 seasons it became something, but it was kind of a hidden gem for those first 3 or 4 seasons.
I guess so. I mean, you know, I didn't know it. I can tell you this much, is that you can tell almost immediately whether the show is really clicking when you walk on the set. You can just tell. And I didn't know the show, but when I walked on the set, I went, ooh, everybody is really playing at a high level. And that included crew and absolutely everybody. Brent will know this. I did the scene, and then they said, we'd like to do it again. I go, okay. But by that time, you begin to get a little self-conscious. Well, let's do it again. And by this time, I'm thinking, boy, I didn't think that they liked what I was doing. And then it became clear to me that they were working. So now we shot scenes over and over and over again as they were working in the video village. You know, listen, John, you know, why don't you do this? And, you know, you could do, and, oh, I liked it when you did that, and maybe let's work on that a little bit. And it's such a freeing way to work. And then all of a sudden you go from thinking, oh, you know, I got all the lines out, is there something wrong? To, oh, wow, I'm really working with people who are pros. So it's different than many other shows.
On that particular show, you know, Bryan Cranston's the lead. They're kind of in charge of the tone of the entire set. Otherwise being super professional, how was that particular set? Because I know Vince Gilligan runs a tight ship, but Cranston, were you welcomed aboard as someone? Because I always find it weird as a non-actor with no talent that being to be inserted into these huge movies and huge, especially a series that's already been going on for a long time, you're only there for 3 episodes. How does it feel to be the outsider who is becoming part of the family for a couple shows?
Well, it feels exactly the way in which you described it. You feel like the outsider who is trying to become part of the family very quickly, and to find, you know, where the zone is. Are you hitting the target? Are you above it, below it? You know, are you not even on the target? You're just trying to get some sense of whether you're doing the type of job that is commensurate with the show.
Well, my job is over. I am going to unleash the crowd. Oh, that's right, there's a whole crowd up there. So go ahead and say your name and ask a great question.
Hi, my name's Tiankum, and my question's for you, Mr. Lancie. I was just wondering if you could talk about your last day on Picard, and how difficult was it for you to take on this role again 30 years later?
It wasn't difficult to take the role on 30 years later. As my wife likes to say, I tend to do this and this and this a lot. My children certainly saw that a lot, and pick up your clothes, something like that. It wasn't difficult to take on the role. One of the things in which I wanted to be sure of was that we were not trying to recreate. I had been on a show with Don Adams, is that? Don Adams. Yeah.
Get Smart.
Get Smart again, where he made the classic mistake of trying to recreate. And it was painful. Painful for him, painful for those of us.
What was that?
Get Smart again.
It wasn't Get Smarter?
Get Smarter.
You're thinking of Die Hard.
It was called Get Smart Again.
I didn't know there was a show called Get Smart Again.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
There's also the Nude Bomb, the movie.
And Kenny Mars.
Kenneth Mars.
Yeah. Well, in any case, those are other stories. But so it wasn't difficult. That last day, I think this is kind of what you alluded to, which is something which I will cherish. It's just Patrick and I, in a way, ending kind of how we started. Patrick and I were the first people who were hired. We used to rehearse at my house or stuff like that for those trial scenes, all way back in the Pleistocene. And now here we were, just his chair, my chair, and so we started to do the scene. And over here, actually there's a camera there, it's all dark. This was the part that was lit, and it's all dark over there. And obviously I know the cameras are there, and I don't know even, they probably had 2 to 3 cameras there with the crew, and that was about it. We have sound so we worked and did the scene, and blah blah blah, and we did a bunch of times, and now we've come to the end of the scene, and there was a big applause. So I looked back over there, but I mean, it was not an applause made up of 10 or 15 people. It was an applause of maybe 30 people or more. And what they had done, unbeknownst to me at least, I think to Patrick as well, is that a lot of people had come in to see this last scene. So in that respect, and then Patrick had a few words to say, I had a few words to say, and that was it.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kiersey. This is such an honor. I've been a fan for 35 years, since a little 12-year-old watching Next Generation in 1987. My question is for Brent. My favorite episodes of The Next Generation are the ones where Lore is in there with you, because I think you're such an amazing actor that the range that you show with Data and Lore together is just incredible. And also when you throw in your dad, Dr. Soong, I'd like to know, what was your process in coming up with those characters?
Did I have a process? Process. Well, it's hard to remember. It was so long ago. Seriously, I mean, playing Data was very easy in the sense that I could do anything I wanted, because nobody had played an android really at that point. So I knew that no matter what I did, nobody was going to say, "Oh, come on, an android wouldn't do that." They would just accept it. And Lore was very easy, because basically I was just playing myself. And, so that was, talk about free, I got to just be me, evil me. And Dr. Soong was a difficult character to play, because what happened with that is another actor was already hired to play that role. In fact, a wonderful actor named Key Luke, who Key Luke was the master on Kung Fu, and he was in all the old Charlie Chan movies. He was the #1 son. And they had hired Key Luke to do this part, which made sense because the character has a Chinese last name, and there I am playing it. But I said to the producers, I said, wouldn't it make more sense if I played Data's creator? Because then he had made him in his image, and so it wasn't just his father, his God, his everything, you know. And they said, oh, that's a great idea. And so they paid Key Luke, as well they should have. And I panicked at that point. And I thought, how do I play this? I don't know how to do this. And I was looking for a voice. I thought, I can't possibly do this. And I really regretted it. And then Michael Westmore, who did my makeup throughout the entire, Mackenzie, hey, how are you? No, Michael's really a genius, and he did all of the prosthetics for all the creatures and aliens, and so he designed the makeup for Dr. Sung, and he said the day before we were going to shoot for the first time, he said, let me put it on you just to see if it works and if there's anything I need to change. And he put it on me, and I saw myself in the mirror, and I thought, I'm home free. Anybody could play this part with this makeup on, really. I thought it could be Milton Berle inside of here, and he would be like fantastic. But no, really, I totally got it when I saw the character in the mirror, and I went, oh yeah, I can do this. And so that's how we did it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kimia, and I'm a huge fan of Star Trek The Next Generation. I grew up watching it with my family every week. And of course, we love both of you, the mischievous Q, the lovable Data. My question, though, is for Brent. Data's character is very, obviously, androidish, robotic, no emotion. I was curious as to what it was like for you to have to portray all those emotions when you got the emotion chip, and just like channeling, and like just if it was cool, if it was weird, what was it like for you to finally get to release those emotions and play that as Data?
Well, I love the idea of the emotion chip. I thought that was a great thing. I like a character that evolves in some way, isn't just static, and by virtue of the emotion chip, suddenly a character who had been one thing for several years was something else entirely. And I thought that was a really great thing that they did that for the character, to the character. But playing the emotions wasn't that hard, but except that it was that they had to sort of be out of control emotions, that they were happening, but he really didn't have a handle on them. They were just occurring. So we just had to just let go and play and do the best we could with it.
You did a great job, because a lot of those scenes were very fun and quotable in our house, so we love imitating Data.
I'm so glad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a follow-up to that real quick, because I think both of you play characters that are the exact opposite of each other. You play an android that's repressed emotions and wants to be a human. And I believe Q is like, he's Loki, he's all emotion, but he still wants to be a human, because for some reason he thinks maybe playing inside a box versus outside the box, because you have unlimited power. How did you guys try to get the evolution of that character? Because like you said, you were lucky enough to play him for so long, and then you kept on coming back. We just loved it. But every time you came back, especially in Picard, I could see Q becoming more human, or admiring humans more and more.
Well, I mean, you're asking a question technically, how do we do it?
I just wanted to know how you saw that progression. How did you try to work that so it would actually be more organic than just going, well, I'm going to be different now?
Well, I think that part of it, at least, I mean, it's a little different. What Picard I feel is different than most of the stuff that was done beforehand. For Next Generation, I only did 6 episodes, so for me it was looking at every scene as if it were a new facet on a stone to cut. So if I do it this way, what will that say? What will that add to this this arc of this character. So I would make conscious choices. I would put those choices in up and ready to go, and with a number of other choices that I could go with. And then I would spend, it would of course depend on who I'm acting with and, you know, what they're doing. And so I tried to keep it at a level that, you know, if it was easy to be kind of funny or amusing, because Patrick was always kind of Mr. Poopy.
Number one. No, number two.
So I mean, the character, yeah, right. Picard was always a little poopy. So there's no point to try to do that part of the pie. That part of the pie's already been eaten. So you're looking as to what angles, or at least I am, looking as to what angles are still open that can be explored. In Picard, it was a little different. I didn't know very much when I started working on the show as to where they were going, but I knew that there was an internal reason that I felt something had to be done, and had to be done quickly, with the cue of in the Next Generation. I was always just kind of like, come on man, let's just have some fun here. But in Picard, it was coming, there was something motivated from me that I also needed to get somebody else to do. So it was just a kind of, I don't know, it was a different feel about it. So I don't know if I've answered many questions here.
And with you had actual milestones, so you had to like go, now he knows this, now he knows this.
I just did it whatever John was doing.
Okay. That seemed to work.
You know, I tell you, it was very simple. Came from Gene Roddenberry from the very beginning, and he said, here's the thing with Data. First meeting, he said, as the show goes on, Data's going to get closer and closer and closer to being human, until at the very end, whenever that is, he's going to be so close to human and still not. And that's kind of the way we went with it.
Hi. I'm a lifelong Star Trek fan. Data was my first nerd crush. But John, my question
Me too.
is for you. What was it like to bring Q back to life as an animated character as Discord in My Little Pony?
Can I get a what from the bronies?
You know, I don't go around trying to play Q all the time. But I am the vessel that has played him. So I will always bring a part of myself to everything we do, we bring a part of ourselves. So when I got a call saying, you know, you have an offer to play this and stuff like that, I read it, and I didn't think Q by any stretch of the imagination, although maybe I should have. I began reading it, and the vibration that came out of it was Oscar Wilde. You know, a very kind of effete, you know, his emotions on his sleeve, just over the top, and you know, so I just thought Oscar Wilde. So when I went in to do it, and I'm saying hello, 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 but then I go into a booth alone, and there are all those people there. I don't know what they're thinking. I've just come to do what I've prepared to do. It was only afterwards that I met Lauren Faust that she said to me, she said, you know why, how you got this job? And I said, no. She said, I created this character of Discord, and then I'm trying to explain it to the suits, and they're not kind of getting it. And so finally I just sort of blurted out, well, you know, like Q on Star Trek. And one of them apparently said, do you think we could get to Lancie? with me. So that's how it sort of happened. But I recognize and I appreciate, and I mean, there was somebody who just told me just now, you know, I've had it go both ways. Some people say, I watched My Little Pony because I knew you were on Star Trek, and but I've had people go, you know, and it happened just today, just you know, an hour or so ago. You know, I didn't really like Star Trek, and I never really watched it until I watched you on My Little Pony, and now I'm watching Star Trek. So, I was like, hey, any port in the storm, what can I say?
Hi, thanks so much for being here. I was wondering, since you've both been able to be on several different Star Trek shows, I'm curious with which captain you personally would like to serve and why.
Who are the other captains? I mean, you know, honestly, Patrick could not have been, a better captain. I mean, he is a captain. In his own life, he's a captain. He's, he's commanding and tells you what you're supposed to do. And but you know what? I'd be happy to work with any of the people who've been captains. They're all fantastic actors. And I'm trying to think if I've worked with any of them other than, wait, who was the captain on, oh yeah, I worked with Scott Bakula. And that was nice, and Scott's great. But they're all great. Everybody who's working now, they're just fantastic. All the Star Trek shows. Love Anson Mount, and I was a big Hell on Wheels fan. Did you guys watch Hell on Wheels? That was a great show. I saw every episode. And, but yeah, no, any of them, all of them, Kate and Avery and Bill and Sonequa, all of them, fantastic.
Yeah, I would say that probably the best Q exchanges were with Patrick. I think that there was a reason. They were so concerned. I mean, they were really concerned. Kate would come in and she would say, God, every morning I'm told the same thing. They were so concerned that Kate would end up playing it so that she became infatuated. You cannot become infatuated with Q. You cannot become infatuated with Q. And the thing is this, is that when you're doing a scene, especially a man and woman scene, if you are taking that kind of dynamic off the table, it strips the scene a little bit. So, some of the colors are just not there. With Patrick and I, it was always who's on top. It was always, who's gonna win? Who is gonna win?
Thank you for the clarification.
I mean, first he says,
Except for that scene where I showed up in Patrick's bed.
that was where you stripped the scene.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
These things happen on my panels.
Yes, Q, I'm so glad to see you again.
Engage.
It's so cute.
Very, very good.
I'm gonna try. Okay, so this is for both Mr. Lancie and Mr. Spiner. Since you both have been playing these iconic characters, which I love immensely, for so long, have you learned anything about yourselves from playing these characters?
I'm sure I have. I just try not to think about it.
We'll help each other here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have learned that there were a number of characters that I played in plays where I got to do it for 3 months, 6 months, that actually really informed me. They changed who I was. Lord Byron, I truly got to love him. Amundsen was actually a show that I was doing when I got the Star Trek show. I don't know if there's anything about the character of Q that has informed me other than, I've allowed myself, part of the way in which I played it was however I rolled out of bed. I gave myself that after I figured out who was on top, right? After I rolled out of bed, I gave myself that liberty as an actor to be super indulgent, just to be indulgent, because it felt like what the character would do. What I have learned, though, is from what the audience has told me over the years. And that has been one of the things is that the notion that someone could have power seems to be a human notion. If I only had your power, what would I do? And I've thought about that a great deal in terms of how this character and why this character is popular. I've never quite understood why the character is popular, so I've always asked the audiences, tell me why. Not that I would play that part, but it's always been a fascination for me.
So for me personally, and I think for a lot of Star Trek fans, one of the amazing things about Next Generation is all of the philosophical and moral debates it brings up. So my question is for both of you, do you have a favorite debate, discussion about morality or philosophy that is brought up on Next Generation?
Went deep.
I know the best shows for Q were always one that had something philosophical attached to it. Tapestry, those were always the most fun to play and the most meaningful to play. So I really looked forward to those type of shows.
I suppose, I know I've said this before and it's absurd, but I've only seen about 10 episodes of the show. And they were in the first season, the first 10 episodes. And so I don't really remember very much. I remember you were on the show, right? Yeah. But I do remember Measure of a Man. I think that's sort of what we did. We were at our best when we were doing shows like that actually addressed, a philosophy, a problem, and dramatized it in a way where it wasn't just hitting you over the head that the problem exists now in our world, in our lives. And I think, that it was a discussion of slavery and creating slaves, and I thought it was a really good episode.
I first just want to thank both of you for the humanity you brought to the Star Trek universe, especially the characters of Data and Q, where Data himself is trying to explore humanity, and Q himself, you're both like those characters were, and allowing us as a humanity to also explore ourselves and to ask questions where now we have more of things aren't taboo. But my question for the both of you is, what is your favorite personality trait about yourself?
Your favorite topic? Let's go.
I have many.
Yeah. have time? Really?
Well, how about this? If you don't want to talk about yourself, what do you like about John? And John, what do you like about Brent?
You know what I like about John? Stop. No, I will.
You know, well, I can, to be the truth teller. And it's not to be the truth teller kind of like saying things that are shocking or what have you, just in terms of reality. And these last 5 or 6 years have been really disturbing for me because of the amount of lying that goes on. And it's just so shocking to me. And one of the things in which we as actors do is, in fact, truth-telling. I had once an attorney who said to me, well, you know, I could get any actor on the stand and I would destroy you because you're just professional liars. Not understanding what it is that we do. We could not do our work properly if we went up there to lie. We actually are looking for the truth. Now understand, it's the truth through the character that we are playing. But that is, we are constantly looking for that. And I think that is what has attracted me to acting in a way. And then as a person who lives kind of by those rules, to live right now at a time when there is so much lying, which we never lie to deceive you. You come into the theater knowing that we're about to do a play, and we all work together to create a what if that you are a participant in, and we are showing what it would be like if this character in this situation were real. So we're not lying, but the lying that is going on here nowadays to deceive people and to be mean-spirited is something that really I find affecting me, and which I try to be as straightforward as possible. So that is a trait that I cherish.
Now what? You know what, I think if I have a good trait, of course I have many.
Humility.
Yeah, humility. Exactly, thank you. No, I'll tell you what, I think I do fairly well as a human is to let people be who they are and not try to adjust that to my liking. There's a wonderful play, Lanford Wilson play called The 5th of July, and there's a line in it. One of the characters says to the other, there's no profit in telling somebody they're not who they think they are. And I prefer not to tell people that they're not who they think they are, and to accept them for who they think they are. Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Well, I think that's the last question, unfortunately, but what I want to tell you guys is that we really appreciate you being here, and as much as we love your characters, you're more to us than just Q and just data. We just love what you do throughout your whole careers. Love seeing you do new and different things. You guys are amazing, and I think I can say that on behalf of everybody. We really appreciate you being here in Utah. Thanks so much. John Lancie.
Please give a huge round of applause for Brent and John, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We love you, Salt Lake. Thank you so much.
Now you guys, thank you so much. You guys can get a photo up with these gentlemen. Right there, you look at me, look and see a QR code on the screen. If you put your phone up that, you can schedule a photo up with these gentlemen and get a photo up and an autograph. Guys, give a huge round of applause one more time. Thank you so much.